The Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa is still pushing ahead with its call on government to declare Ancestors' Day on the 8th of May a national public holiday to honor and observe African spirituality. The organization says the day can be a catalyst to economic development and social acceptance for those who believe and practice African spirituality. For more on this, we can speak to Contralesa Secretary General Zolani Mkiva. Mr. Mkiva, always good to have you on Daytime Update. So, you have been calling for this to be declared a public holiday now, and I've been speaking to you about it for about 2, if not 3 years now. Do you get a sense that you're making any progress at all as far as realizing that goal?
No, certainly, my brother, we are doing very well. We are making very good progress. The communities of our country and the society at large, they have now embraced this clarion call by the Institution of Traditional Leadership that come the first week of May, particularly on the 8th, is a day in which we must go back to our roots and remember those who came before us. And in this way,
I think you have muted yourself. We
are appreciating our roots, we are appreciating our background and heritage, and taking stock of the fact that we carry the hopes and the dreams of those who came before us. This is very important for a country and a continent that is very new in terms of its administration of democracy. It is important that we do everything that we can to decolonize the public discourse and to cleanse our society and to heal our communities of the many bad things that have happened in the past. And I think that healing starts with our spirituality. Our spirituality has got rigorous canons of goodness, which we could use to actually heal ourselves and find progress and a way forward in a number of areas where we are found wanting. There's a lot of mental illness which has besieged our society. There's a lot of violence, vandalism. So we need to instill a great culture of pride, of patriotism, of ownership, so that people have an appreciation of their own country. This is very important because it helps us to get progress and to get to better the lives of our people. So this is not just about romanticizing and putting a request for an additional day to be a public holiday. No, we are saying let's go back to the drawing board. Let's start from the beginning. Who are we? How do we define us? What is the relationship between ourselves as the current generation with those who came before us, as well as those that will come after us? It's very important that we stay focused. We define our identity quite clearly. We stick to our roots and our grassroots and ensure that as Africans, we uphold African spirituality, African morality, as well as servant leadership, including the values of Ubuntu. Then in that way, I believe, we can find progress in a number of fronts. So this day is a day of significance, and it does not compete with any other day. You know, the month of May is the Africa month. So I think what the Institution of Traditional Leaders have done is to complement that work by saying, come the first week of May. That's what we'll do. We'll open that month by reflecting on where we come from, and then the rest will be history. And I think we are going to be seeing a lot of positive outcomes out of this exercise.
So,
and I think,
if I can just come in there. So, yes, you're saying you're seeing more people acknowledging the day on the 8th and observing their African spirituality. But that is not quite the same, of course, as the declaration of a national public holiday. Do you think that with more people taking interest, the closer you will be then to the recognition of the day as a national holiday?
The issue of the declaration of the 8th of May as a day of the ancestor is a starting point. And I think it is going to grow and culminate into becoming a public holiday. We are confident about that. There is a compelling case for it to be a public holiday. And it will not be a public holiday in a sense that people will use it to go and have fun. This will be a real day where people must take it very seriously. It must be a pilgrimage where we employ fully our African spirituality. It should be a day of reflection, It should be a national day of prayer. It should be a national day of thanksgiving. It should be a national day to honor and recognize our ancestors. But it is a national day where we also ask and make some strategic requests to the ancestors to bless us so that those things can come into fruition. So it's a different day, totally. And I think if you look into the calendar of South Africa, you will see that gap and the need to have a day like this. Mm-hmm. So this day will answer that question. But we don't want to rush that. Remember that issues of governance and regulations, they are very bookish and they can also be very academic. So there are dossiers that we must put together and submit to government. And those dossiers are different, but they have to be done under very careful and a watchful eye. And having done so, the process of galvanizing and mobilizing society does not stop. And therefore, we will not wait for the holiday in order to do this reflection.
Okay. Why the date of the 8th of May specifically? I know you said the first weekend of May is quite important, but why the 8th? Is there a special significance about the day?
Before this day was inscribed by the Institution of Traditional Leadership, it was like any other day. But in 2021, on the 8th of May, we went to the Royal Palace of Kgoshi Mathupha Mokoena in Bushbuckridge, and we created this day, and we inscribed it on record that from there on, this day is Ancestors' Day. Then after that, it is now a day of significance. So we could have chosen any other day, but our spirituality led us into that particular day. So I don't think we need to explain ourselves insofar as what criteria we use. We simply employed our cultural sophistication, and our African spirituality guided us in this regard. And I think the God of Africa gave us the thumbs up. Now, we are now on the second edition. 2 days ago, we were at the Cradle of Humankind. What a beautiful event. What a day of reflection. What a day of national prayer that we observed in that hollowed space of Africa where humanity began.
And you mentioned the Cradle of Humankind, and often there's a misconception, isn't there, about who would want to observe Ancestors' Day. People would assume that it's something that would happen in rural South Africa, in townships in South Africa, but it very much is ancestry, and the focus on African spirituality stretches well across the social classes.
You are correct. It cuts across the social classes and all the classes of society in general. Look, when all of us as Africans are born, we are born African and we are spiritual beings. And that African spirituality will never leave us at any point in time. We can deny it. We can do all sorts of things to try to escape, but it is part of our soul. It is very central to our existence. And therefore, this Ancestors' Day is for all the people of South Africa and the people of Africa. We have a relationship that is biological with our ancestors. We have a relationship that is spiritual. And all we are saying, this is not a matter of people in rural areas. This is a matter of all people of this country, particularly the African majority, the Africans, the natives of this continent. So it's something that talks to them, but it is not excluding anyone who is in our space. You know, we are a very embracing community and society as Africans. Even in the struggle for liberation, it was a struggle for the Africans, by Africans, but we were supported by people from other backgrounds. But that does not stop the struggle to be an African struggle. So similarly, this day, it actually follows in that particular tradition. We say this is for us. It is something that we need to heal ourselves as a people that have been demonized and terrorized by coloniality. In order to decolonize, in order to emancipate the African voice, this is what we ought to do. And the Day of the Ancestors seek to put an installment towards the trajectory of total emancipation of the African people.
A quick final one, in 30 seconds if you can. You mentioned decolonializing such days, but do you think that Ancestors' Day will also demystify ancestral belief?
We are very correct there. This day will help to re-educate society about certain things that were done in the past where there was a reference which was associated with black magic or witchcraft when you are talking about ancestors. In some instances, some people in the administration, particularly the white administration, referred to our ancestors as demons. So we are going to demystify that with this. The process of public education has begun, the process of re-education, and we want these things to manifest as well in the syllabus of schools. People must now take pride. They must not be shy to talk about their ancestors in broad daylight, because I am Zolani Mkiva, that is a fact, and no one can change it. No one can say, therefore, my great-grandfather is a demon. He's my ancestor. He's my forefather, similar to you and all other Africans. That is the case. So there is a process of education, a process of engagement, which is very key in this, and therefore, this is a very beautiful platform, and this installment of the Ancestors Day helps us to demystify this completely, to take pride of who we are, where we come from, and the salutation and the honor that we give to our ancestors.
Thank you very much, Zolani Mkiva. Good to have your time.